Hello there, YouTube. It's Ro here. Thank you for visiting Ro. If this is your first time here, I hope you'll consider subscribing at the end of this video. If you've been here before, thank you so much for coming back. I appreciate you. Today, I'm opening up some new gadgets for the yard. Bringing you along in just a moment. So let me be clear. I don't have a particularly, large backyard by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, it's fairly small. However, especially in this backyard, I have things growing all over the place. And, initially my thought was I can pay somebody to take care of the yard for me, but then that person wouldn't know that this is not a weed. That's a black hollyhock. And they wouldn't know that that is a stray horseradish coming up. And, they might not lift up my plants instead of cutting up the tomatoes, or this here, ruining everything. They wouldn't necessarily do it with the amount of care that I would, right? So for example, they might just run that tomato over instead of lifting it out of the way. So I've decided I'm going to attempt to take care of my garden on my own, because that front yard is pretty self-explanatory. It's just 2 squares. That's nothing. But this backyard is a whole other issue. And so while I do have I have 2 lawnmowers, I do have areas that need to be trimmed. So up against this fence here, which I did with hand trimmers. I got to do it again, but I decided that I needed an electric one, so you can clean up around these beds like this here and get up along this fence here, and just stuff like this. That's really grown out of control. That shouldn't be like that. So I thought, though, if I had the right equipment, same here, just get around these beds real good, nice and tight, clean it up, make it look, how do you say, manicured, make it look manicured. And areas like this here on the side of the driveway, where things are popping up in between the cracks and whatnot, just get a trimmer and, weed whack all that down. And we had a trimmer. It's this guy, this Black & Decker. Worked great for 2 years, and this past year we were having such a hard time with it. We had to change the spool on it, stop and do the spool on it like every 10 seconds. It was ridiculous. So somebody told me I just needed to buy a new spool holder, I think it was. I don't know. But in the meantime, I thought it was broke, so I had already started doing some research. And something that I was really into was doing like what my neighbor does. His yard is impeccable. He's out here all the time, and it looks great and it shows. But look how his edging looks. I never had an edger, so I wanted to see about getting one of those. Well, I was on Amazon, and I found that they have edger and trimmers in one. So it's a 2-in-1. And I would love to have my yard as manicured as his. I like that nice crisp line. Meanwhile, mine is looking all scruffy. So, and I gotta get these weeds out of the cracks and stuff like that. So, and look at this. This could definitely look a lot better. So I bought some tools that I think will help me get to that point. Well, I bought one and my mom bought the other one. So let me show you what I got. The first is this thing here from Worx.com. This I don't necessarily need at this moment, but come fall time, when those trees start losing all their leaves, this is what's going to come in handy for me and hopefully make that a really simple process for me. Let me show you what it is. I have here the all-in-one blower, vacuum, and mulcher by Worx. Looks like it comes with a warranty. 3-year limited warranty, okay. And looks like there's some assembly required, so let's see if I can do this. All right, so setup was a cinch, I think. Here's the machine, the blower vacuum mulcher. So right there you have the bag for when you're gonna mulch your leaves. Here is the power button. This is off. Slide it this way, that's on. This is how you disconnect this whole assembly from here when you want to go and clean it out. Over here you have this like meter that you can turn it up or turn it down. Then here, this lever, if you're going to use it as a blower, do it here. If you're going to use it as a vacuum, you'll do it here. You'll turn it down. And then on the back here is the plug. I wasn't super excited about it being plugged. A plugged tool. I would have rather had it been a battery one, but this is what they had, and so I figured this was my best bet. So I have some leaves in the garage. Let's try it out. All right. Don't judge. Here's my messy garage. I'm imagining that once I start this thing up, I'm not going to be able to talk. So I think I'll start by trying to blow everything to this side of the garage, and then I'll try to do the suck up and mulch. My feeling is that mulching the leaves will be nice for using as mulch in the garden come wintertime. So that's my plan. Don't know if that's how it's gonna go, but that's what I'm counting on. Like I said, this will mainly be for the fall time, not for, not for doing this in the middle of the summer. This is just to try it out. Alrighty, let's get started. Evidently, it's as easy as switching it from blower to vacuum. I just need to make sure that the bag is zipped shut, and it is. It says to keep the vacuum 1 inch away from 1 inch away from the debris. So, okay. All right, here we go. I don't know why. I feel like I need some goggles or something. All right, so that's 12. We'll turn it to vacuum. All right, let's do it. All right, there is no denying that its blowing power and suction power work just fine. It made easy work out of all those leaves that were in here. I can't wait to get in here and take care of this other side of my garage. Maybe next year, I don't know. It ain't gonna happen this year, I know, but still, all those leaves are gone. I didn't do this up here. I specifically left that alone because I probably need to move that with a broom to make sure there's no nails or screws are in there. But outside of that, it worked really well. You guys saw it for yourself. Now let's see what the mulch looks like though. So to remove this, all I have to do is push this here to release it. And let's dump it out. See what we got. Or do you do it by the zipper? Probably by the zipper, I'm guessing. Whew. All right. It worked. Didn't necessarily grind up all those pine needles, but the leaves themselves are finely mulched. Oop, there was plastic in there, whoopsie. Oh my God, there was a screw in there too. Jesus. Yeah, that mulched really well. Look at that. I'm pleased with that. So let's go up on the porch and I'll give you my final thoughts on this. You know, it's only this one time I've used it, but I do have some thoughts. All right, so my thoughts on this Worx blower vacuum mulcher. I think the product itself is very well made, at least it feels to be, you know, only having used it once. It feels really good. Another pro is it was easy to use. Super easy installation as well. And using it only requires the use of 3 buttons. That is the power, that's the variable speed, and whether or not you want to vacuum or blow. All of that is very easy. Also, to disconnect the bag from the blower, you just have to push this handle in order to release it. Piece of cake. Now, the cons. Again, I think I already mentioned that I think it would have been better if it would have been one of the ones that comes with a battery pack, a rechargeable battery pack, so you wouldn't have to use a extension cord with it. However, I already have an extension cord, so it was no problem for me. My other con is this thing is not light. It's not unbearably heavy. You know, you saw me wielding it just fine. But if I had a yard, say 3 times larger than what mine is, I would have to do whatever with this machine in batches, because yeah, it's not super light. And even with that strap that you can wrap around you, still wasn't very light. My arm was getting tired already. Now I am a weakling, but I'm working on that too. I'm working on a lot of things. At any rate, I think for the price that I paid, I got it on a Prime deal, and for the price that I paid though, I think it's a great product. I really do. I like it. I think it's going to come in great handy in the fall, and I'm glad that I purchased it. I'm looking forward to working on my arm strength so that this doesn't feel so heavy for me. But aside from that, this is a nice piece of equipment, I believe. So having only used it once, I would say give it a try. If you got a small yard, much like mine, give it a go. I think it'll serve its purpose just well. All right, friends, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and share with your family and friends. And I will see you in another video on another day. Until then, happy growing, my friends.